AITA for going low contact and cutting off financial aid with my parents. So this is going to be a long one. I, 27M, got married to my now wife, 25F, over a year ago. My parents were supporting of us before the wedding and kept asking me to marry my now wife. Me and my mom used to call and speak to each other on a daily basis, something I found pointless, since we didn't have any happenings and we would just chat for 15 minutes on the phone. I suppose it might be related as I've moved out and she missed me. We would go to my parents' house almost on a weekly basis since they always invited us and always needed help with something. So sometimes me and my wife would drive there tired after work even though we didn't want to. At some point my wife said she didn't want to drive there all the time since she's tired from the long work hours and would like to spend some quality time together, or at the very least get some proper sleep. I did understand where she's coming from obviously, so I started going there a bit less and more alone than with her. After a few months their cat got sick, and since my wife is a vet, we drove there every day after work so she can take care of him. He had quite a bit of issues that were caused due to the cat's living conditions, so my wife said she'll take care of them if my parents would take care of the cat and took him inside the home. Obviously, she would take care of them even if they said no since she would live an animal to die. After the cat got better it started living in the home, but that was short-lived. As soon as the cat took a piss on the floor it was instantly kicked out back to basement. This is just the starting point. This is very important since at this point my parents were confused on why I drove up to their house alone more often than coming with my wife, as well as my wife's trust had been broken by my parents. First Christmas apart. When me and my then girlfriend first moved in we wanted to celebrate Christmas with our very close friends at the time. My mom was very mad and said that she would like us to come. And after Christmas we can drive over to our friends, and if my wife doesn't want to come she can suck it up and just go through with it. This is the start of a grudge that would just grow in time. Fast forward a few months later, I proposed to my wife. We drove up to my parents to let them know after the fact. They weren't as happy, so the next time when I came by alone, about 2 weeks later, I was talked to about the fact I didn't tell them before I proposed. I answered that they were telling me to do it for over 6 months. Noticing my mom was very disappointed with the answer, I asked what's up. And I got an answer shocked me. Are you sure about this? In a tone giving up she does not like my wife. This drove the grudge between my wife and my parents even more, but now it's a grudge between me and my now fiancé and my parents. Since I don't want to keep secrets, I told my wife about this. About 2 months later when we were planning the wedding everything seemed a lot better. My parents did suggest a few things to keep the costs down but still, me and my wife planned everything as well as we were paying for everything out of pocket. At one point we're sitting in my parents' house talking about everything and my dad says, "You need to invite these distant relatives." I was confused, as my brother got married a year ago and he didn't invite them. I haven't spoken to these distant relatives in 15 years and I need to invite them. Obviously me and my wife said we didn't plan on inviting him. At this point I got a call on my phone, and my dad started yelling at my wife that we didn't have a choice, and we need to invite these relatives. I got off the phone as soon as possible, but when I did, I saw my wife was already pretty mad and sad about everything. Considering my drunk dad just yelled at her, she went outside, and at this point my parents said either I invite them or they won't come to the wedding. I left and went to comfort my wife. This is the point my mental state was taking a toll. Not only did I have to work long hours under stress, I came home to even more stress. My wife was crying for weeks. I comforted as much as I could. At the end my wife's mom said we should just invite those distant relatives so we can put an end to this. The grudge is real at this point. We invited them. Wedding day. We managed to push through all this somehow. It's now the wedding day. Me and my wife as well as a lot of friends and her part of the family are here. Her family helped a lot with making snacks, preparing drinks for everyone. Meanwhile I see my family coming along. Visibly I see my dad isn't happy. But it's okay I suppose. Fast forward to the ceremony. Me and my wife are going to the main hall doors when they close right before us. Just we and the staff can get ready before letting us in. At this point, everyone is a bit confused, and my mom says, "You know, Kate, wife, it's not too late to change your mind." He. I suppose it was some kind of twisted joke but me and my wife were boiling. Anyway, after the official part we moved past to the venue. I guess everything seemed okay. My father spoke to one of the venue staff and pretty much threatened him and asked to be left alone. I found that absolutely crazy. This man has not paid a dime or did anything to contribute towards this wedding, yet he walks and talks to the staff with disrespect as he owns the place. At some point in of the wedding event something has been said that offended my parents deeply. Something like, "Are you mother *******. It wasn't said in a bad way. But basically my whole family took it in as if someone actually called me a mother *****, stood up and left the wedding while cursing all my friends and my wife's family. The next day my brother called and said my mom has been crying for 2 days. I dropped all my things and drove there. Big mistake. I ended up apologizing that she was offended and assured her it wasn't directed at her. From that point onwards my mom addressed my wife not by name but, your wife. At some point I blew up and said I didn't like that and she can call her by name. Since then my family and wife haven't spoken or seen each other. Fast forward to Christmas. As I mentioned earlier, my parents saw Christmas as something special, so they expected me and my wife to come this year. I didn't say we'd come. I've stated I'll think about it, but decided we'd go to my wife's family since we both really like them. A week before Christmas my mom called and asked if I'll be coming, and I said no. We'll be staying with my wife's family. She was disappointed. I felt it. Anyway, on Christmas Eve I called to wish her a Merry Christmas. She was very cold. Said thank you and passed the phone to my dad. After that she stopped calling for 2 weeks until my brother again let me know she's been crying for the past 4 days. So I called her and she said she wasn't sad because I didn't come, but because I stopped visiting. I feel it's a lie and she was mad because she didn't have it her way. Money issues. For the past year my mom is always complaining about having money troubles. I do see they aren't doing great financially, but I used to send some money to help out. But when I stopped as I was having my own issues, she called and asked for the money. I said I had none to give and she just said okay but kept complaining that finances aren't great. My wife pointed out that she may complain about having hard times but gets her nails done every week, and plans worldwide travels. Yes, with hard financial times she wanted to travel 5 countries in a month. So currently I cut off financial aid. After everything that happened my wife is currently in therapy as everything really took a toll on her mental health. And my mom is confused why my wife doesn't visit, and I went low contact and I'm pretty mad at the whole situation. I feel as if my mom is manipulating me. So, Reddit, AITA.